All right, let's look at the world a little differently today. We're going to explore this idea that global events, they aren't just random, chaotic things happening. What if they're actually the output of a massive, interconnected system, kind of like a piece of code?
Seriously, what if I told you that the big shifts we see in politics, in finance, in technology, they're not just happening by accident? Imagine for a second they're the predictable results of a vast, decentralized algorithm that is always running, always processing data, and always trying to optimize for something.
So, what do we even mean by a decentralized algorithm? Well, think of it like this: the most powerful players on the world stage, governments, giant corporations, huge financial institutions, they're all like individual servers in a massive, distributed network. They're all connected, they're all processing information, and all of them, whether they know it or not, are working toward one single primary goal.
To really get this, we've got to first ask, who are the key players here? Who are the servers that have all this processing power in this global network?
Well, you've got the obvious ones, right? Governments, banks, but the system is much bigger than that. It also includes major corporations, really influential NGOs, and, of course, the sprawling intelligence networks that connect them all. Each one of these is like a powerful node, constantly sending and receiving signals that shape what the entire network does next.
Okay, so if you have all these powerful groups working together, what are they actually working towards? What is the main objective of this whole algorithm? It comes down to one word: stability. The algorithm's prime directive is to prevent a total system crash, and it does that by getting everyone's economies tangled up together and integrating control systems across borders. Why? So that no single part can just break away and bring the whole house of cards down.
And you can see this trade-off happening all the time. The system loves things like complex trade agreements, global financial rules, and these super integrated supply chains. And the reason is to avoid the big stuff on the other side of the ledger: a complete economic collapse, a massive world war, or widespread social chaos. You see, the goal isn't necessarily progress, it's just keeping things in balance, equilibrium.
And hey, this isn't just a theory. You can see it in history. The whole reason the European Union was created was to tie economies so tightly together that another major war would be unthinkable. Or look at how the IMF always steps in to prop up a failing national economy. That's to stop the problem from spreading. The G20's coordinated response to the pandemic, a classic example of the system running a crisis playbook to keep everything stable. Now, any algorithm needs data, right? It needs inputs to process. So, what are the key global signals that this system is constantly reading to figure out its next move?
The inputs are basically everything you see in the news. A war in one region acts like a stress test on the system. Huge tech shifts, like AI taking off, force the whole network to adapt. Economic numbers, like inflation and debt, those are like the system's vital signs. Even public opinion on social media and the results of major elections get fed in as data points.
So how does it process all of that information? Well, it has a few key methods. It uses incentives, economic carrots and sticks to guide behavior. It looks at historical patterns, basically asking, what did we do last time this happened? It uses incredibly sophisticated data analysis for making adjustments in real time. And it has these pre-written crisis playbooks for when things really go sideways. Think about it. When there's a huge financial panic, what do central banks always do? They flood the system with money. That's a crisis playbook in action.
Okay, so we've looked at the players, we've looked at the goal, and we've looked at the data going in. Based on all of that, what are the most likely outputs? Where is this algorithm probably taking us next?
If you look at the current trends, you can map out a probable path. In the very near term, you can expect a lot more international talk about things like AI governance and coordinated economic stimulus. Give it about 3 years, and that's likely to turn into much deeper integration of our digital and financial lives. And by 2030, the logical next step is a big push toward unified global standards for everything, from digital money to climate policies. So, what does this actually look like in your day-to-day life? Well, you might see it in the slow rollout of standardized digital IDs, ones that could link your health records to your bank account. You'll probably see a big shift towards central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, which would totally change how we use money. It could also mean more tech in our food supply, and even little nudges from apps and policies that are designed to encourage certain behaviors, like sustainability. Now, here's a really important point. The source material is very clear that this isn't going to be some sudden dramatic takeover.
These changes are expected to be slow, to be gradual. They'll likely be introduced as voluntary options at first, or as new regulations that have to go through the usual democratic processes with public debate and input along the way.
I know this all can sound really big, maybe even a little overwhelming, so that brings us to the most important question of all. In a system this powerful, how can a regular person or a community hold on to their own autonomy? The key here isn't to try and fight the whole system head-on. That's probably not going to work. Instead, it's about using legal, ethical strategies to build your own parallel networks. The focus is on making local communities stronger and more self-reliant. In a way, you're creating your own little stable system.
So what does that actually mean? It means building local networks for things like food or energy, so you're not totally dependent on long, fragile supply chains. It means boosting your digital literacy, learning how to protect your data. It means diversifying your finances, maybe by supporting local businesses. And this one's huge. It means participating in civic life. Your vote, your voice, that's a direct input into the algorithm. And of course, just learning practical skills builds incredible personal autonomy.
See, none of this is about causing chaos. As the source material puts it, these are proactive, non-confrontational ways to build resilience. By making your own corner of the world more stable and self-sufficient, you're actually contributing to the stability of the whole system, but you're doing it while holding on to your own agency.
So when you look at the world this way, as this massive information processing system, it really boils down to one final question. The algorithm is running. It's constantly adapting. The only thing left to ask is, what kind of input, what kind of signal are you going to be?